I'm Barbara Peters. Welcome to this episode of the Criminal Calendar. We have a special treat for you today, two authors for one, Carolyn Todd and Charles Todd, who write as you can see from the poster, Charles Todd. However, I don't think those are necessarily their real names. Am I right?
Partially a real name.
Partially a real name.
Yes.
You want to stay anonymous?
Well, probably it's best.
Okay. The reason I asked is that I remember when the first Charles Todd, A Test of Wills, was published.
Oh, yes.
It was not necessarily clear that there were two of you writing them. And you had an earlier career as a romance writer. Am I right there?
No, it was suspense, the Phyllis Whitney sort of thing, and we were very light on the romance, more suspense than romance. And I think that's what gave me a taste for mystery, because I was tired of, if I'd only known.
I love suspense. Actually, I'm a huge fan of Phyllis Whitney. Is she still alive?
As far as I know, she is.
She's something like 102.
Yes.
Seriously. I mean, I'm not pulling that number out of a hat.
We met her at a very early Edgar's one time.
Yes.
And she's kind of a legend at Malice Domestic, the mystery conference that focuses on historicals.
Didn't she write a blurb for...
Yes, actually for the first book. But just meeting her was very, very interesting. I enjoyed her. Charles met her. It was a highlight of the Edgar evening. I don't even remember who won the Edgar. I met Phyllis Whitney. What can I say?
Did you ever meet Eleanor Hibbert? Are you a Victoria Hall
Yeah, I have read her books. I have never had a chance to meet her. I'm sorry about that, because I liked her.
I liked her too. She's one of my icons because she is a woman who spent her senior years at sea. She actually died and was buried at sea.
Oh, that's
interesting. And that was a great place, you know, apparently for her to write her books.
Yes,
Victoria Holt?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah. She wrote as Jean Plady.
Philippa Carr.
Philippa Carr. Those were her English Civil War novels, I think. And as Plady, she wrote a whole series about Queens of England, which are all being republished today.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. Three Rivers, is just part of Random House, has taken the historical novel was dead. When I started the Poison Pen in 1989, historical mystery was really starting to blossom, because the historical novel had died and people who'd been writing them had to move into crime in order to get published. And today, it's so interesting to me, you know, a generation has turned, and now the historical novel's probably the single biggest genre.
You were talking earlier about timing, and I think we were very lucky to come in on that timing. That Test of Wills started out right as that was becoming a nice niche genre, and started actually generating some sales and some attention.
What year was it?
96.
96.
96 it was published.
I mean, I've been in business so long, I've ridden your whole career with you here, so I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah. But this was, your store was the first store I visited when
oh, yes.
I was sent out on tour.
I remember that. Was that
Bantam
the
tour.
Cornish book, or was it the third book, Charles?
Wings of Fire was
Yes.
a Cornish book.
Right. Is that the book that you came to sign with us? I was trying to remember the other day.
Yes, and then...
that was your Daphne du Maurier kind of, you know.
Yes.
I mean, I loved it because it was so analogous in lots of ways.
But, and then... No, because Search hadn't come out yet. Test of Wills was finally coming out in paperback.
That's right.
And Wings of Fire was coming out. And
Well, I think the obvious question would be then, since you were already writing books, had you previously done any literary work of your own?
literary, no. I had done some things, but nothing. I'd written some newspaper articles, some letters to the editor, some book reviews, actually. See, I learned you could get some free books at the newspaper if you wrote a review about them, so I signed right up.
And you did a lot of business writing.
Oh, I did a
Yes.
tremendous amount of business writing, which can be as literary as you want.
So what caused you two to get together to write a crime series?
He was working as a troubleshooter for a large corporation, and he spent nights in hotels in strange places, and you can only go to so many bars, you can only see so many movies, and he had said to me, "I'm bored, what'll I do?" And I said, "Well, we can always write a murder mystery." And he said, "Oh, Mother."
Was that one of those how hard can it be moments?
No, I think we understood it was going to be hard because we didn't intend to publish it. But he didn't.
There was no plan in
That's
our
right.
wildest expectations of actually publishing it. It was more something to do together. And
to keep him out of mischief.
I think that's been one of the good things is it has redefined our relationship both as professionals and as mother and son as a result of what we've been doing.
I mean, we still kill each other.
We're also fortunate that there were laptops and email right about the same time, so we could work on things long distance, and that's where we really fell into the pattern of how to work together and work apart and those kinds of things, sort
We
of a
cannot work
delegation
in the
of
same
duties.
house.
Really? Why not?
Yeah.
We find too many other things to talk about.
You get distracted, people come in, we will really get off track, whereas if I send her a lengthy email, that's what she's concentrating on and reading, vice versa,
right.
and not, oh, by the way, and then
Got you.
half an
Which
hour
of you
later.
do you both travel to England to research your
Oh,
background?
yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Together or separately?
Sometimes separately, sometimes together. He went to England the first time. Oh, how old were you then? 14?
Something like that.
And
I had always remembered the pale horse on the hillside. As a matter of fact, I had dug around and found a slide
yes.
that before they did the restoration, and to me it was a fascinating area, and fortunately it was for Caroline as well. But it was kind of interesting. And we run into this a lot, some of what will fascinate me about an area or a certain book may not be the same thing that fascinates her.
It's true.
And so you get that balance of interest. When we go into a town or a village, a lot of times we'll split up even if we're there together, because I'm off looking for certain things that I'm interested in. She's gone off, and then we get back and compare notes
Over dinner.
and she's had a chance to divide and conquer. We get different places and get to meet different people, and then gather our notes to move on. And sometimes it's notes that we may use later. We have never used notes that just were there.
Well, the
'cause we
landscape
were
of your
there.
books, I think, is very detailed, so it certainly seemed to me that you must walk the ground and
You have
Oh,
to.
you have to.
For example, in Watchers of Time, we knew what the harbor looked like. But when we actually got there was this pocket cathedral up on the hill. And we said, oh, went inside, looked at it, this has got to be in the book. But you wouldn't have seen that because all of the photographs that you can find about this little town on the north coast of Norfolk is the harbor view and out across the marshes. You don't look inland behind you. So these are the goodies that pop out when you're traveling.